Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into Rich Brother, Rich Sister by Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh, yeah, good one.
Have you heard of it?
Absolutely, it's a classic.
If you're looking for a daily dose of motivation, by the way, be sure to check out affirmifyjourney.com.
Oh, nice.
They've got great motivational content and personalized zodiac affirmations that could really make your day.
Cool.
But getting back to this book,
Yeah.
it's not your typical Kiyosaki, is it? It's not like Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
No, not at all. It's much more personal, almost a memoir, you know?
Right.
It's about Robert and his sister, Emi.
Emi,
And their very different paths to success.
totally different paths. And he really digs into their childhood in Hawaii. That opening scene
Oh, yeah.
with the atomic bomb test in 1962, I mean, seeing the sky turn blood red from their dining room window,
That's intense.
that must have been scary.
It really sets the stage, doesn't it? You immediately understand the backdrop of fear and uncertainty they grew up with. I mean, the Cold War, air raid drills, even the assassination of JFK, it's no wonder they took such different approaches to life.
Right. So how did that early environment shape their worldviews?
Yeah.
We see Robert at 15 buying a rifle, almost like he's preparing for the worst.
Yeah.
And then you have Emmy touring that cramped, unsettling bomb shelter, clearly not comfortable with that kind of world.
It's such a powerful contrast, isn't it? Robert seems drawn to action, maybe even control,
Right.
in the face of fear. But Emmy, on the other hand, is seeking a different kind of security, one that can't be found in just physical preparations.
Right, and those paths diverge even further as they get older. Robert's early attraction to money, it leads him to the Merchant Marine Academy and then Vietnam.
Yeah.
And the book really digs into his struggles with thou shalt not kill, his internal struggles there.
Yeah.
It's a side of Kiyosaki we don't often see, isn't it?
It is. That moral wrestling really humanizes him. And then you have Emmy facing early motherhood and divorce and seeking solace in a simpler, more spiritual life.
So they're both going through intense periods, but seeking answers in very different ways.
Absolutely.
After the war, we see Robert, he's kind of wild, even gets into trouble with the military. It takes a scathing critique from a woman at an EST seminar to really shake things up for him.
It's a huge turning point for him, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's forced to confront himself, and that seems to spark his self-improvement journey.
Uh-huh.
And at the same time, Emmy is living in an alternative community in Hawaii,
Wow.
having these really challenging encounters with a Zen master,
Okay.
deepening her Buddhist practice.
So both are being pushed, but in very different directions.
Yeah.
And I think this is where we start to see that financial versus spiritual wealth theme really emerge.
Exactly. Robert, even with some financial success, realizes something is missing.
Right.
He starts developing the cash flow quadrant, really aiming for entrepreneurial success.
Uh-huh.
But Emmy is struggling financially, yet she's determined to fund her travels to India to study with Tibetan Buddhist teachers.
Wow.
She even takes a really tough job in Alaska to make it happen.
Okay, but that's huge, right?
Eh?
They're both taking these leaps of faith, but with totally different end goals.
Yeah.
Robert is selling his possessions,
Yeah.
inspired by Beckminster Fuller to teach financial literacy. And then you have Emmy. She's becoming a nun,
Wow.
dedicating her life to service and spiritual growth.
But there is this underlying parallel, though. They're both shedding what no longer serves them, stripping down to the essentials to pursue what truly matters. It's about defining success on your own terms, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
And Emmy's path leads her deep into these Buddhist teachings.
Yeah.
What are some of the core concepts that resonate with her?
Well, one that jumps out is impermanence.
Okay.
The book uses this example of Anomiya Arch. It's this natural rock formation in Hawaii,
Okay.
and it eventually collapses into the ocean.
Oh, wow.
It's a reminder that nothing lasts forever, everything changes. And that can be kind of a difficult concept to grasp, especially in a society that values stability and permanence.
Right. It's a big shift in perspective.
It is.
But how does Amy connect that concept to everyday life?
Well, she talks about how understanding impermanence actually allows us to appreciate the present moment more fully,
Okay.
to let go of those attachments that cause us suffering. She learned this through her work with dying patients. Recognizing that clinging to what we know will eventually be lost, that only intensifies the pain.
Yeah.
By accepting the ephemeral nature of life, we can find a sense of peace and freedom.
It's a challenging concept, But it can be incredibly liberating, can it?
Absolutely.
It's about accepting the natural flow of life rather than resisting it.
Exactly.
And the book doesn't shy away from those challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Both Robert and Amy, they face moments of doubt, of fear, of uncertainty,
Yeah.
but they keep moving forward, relying on their inner compass to guide them.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
It really is. To see that even with those struggles, they find a way to reconcile their different paths.
It is, and it really highlights the power of family.
Mhm.
Even with their contrasting worldviews, they find a way to support each other, especially when Emmy faces those health challenges later in life.
Right.
It's a real testament to the strength of their bond,
Mm.
even amidst their very different journeys.
And that shared history, that contrasting approach to life, it creates this really unique perspective on success and fulfillment. It's not about choosing one path over the other.
Right.
It's about finding what resonates with you.
Absolutely. And it's not about perfection either.
Right.
Both Robert and Emmy, they make mistakes. They stumble, they question themselves. But it's those imperfections that make their journeys so relatable.
It's the honesty and the vulnerability that really connects with the reader. And the book does such a great job of weaving those personal stories with those broader insights. For instance, Robert's father, Ralph Kiyosaki, he had this disillusioning experience running for lieutenant governor
Oh, yeah.
that really impacted Robert's worldview.
It did. Ralph was this respected educator,
Uh-huh.
but he quickly realized that the political system wasn't what he'd hoped for. Friends betrayed him,
Oh, wow.
choosing job security over loyalty.
Wow.
He was left jobless. He faced personal tragedies.
Oh, no.
It really reinforced Robert's skepticism of these traditional systems of power,
Right.
and it fueled his desire to find a different way to create wealth and security.
So both Robert and Emmy, they're facing societal pressures,
Yeah.
but they're responding in very different ways. And it's fascinating how they both seek refuge in these alternative communities.
It is, isn't it?
Robert finds himself drawn to the intensity of EST seminars,
Yeah.
while Emmy immerses herself in a dome living community in Hawaii.
Those are quite contrasting environments.
They really are. Robert thrives in the confrontational nature of EST,
Yeah.
even using that brutal personality assessment as fuel for self-improvement.
Exactly, and it speaks to his resilience, that
Yeah.
willingness to face his flaws head on. And then you have Emmy. She's seeking a much more tranquil and introspective path.
Right.
It's like she's seeking this deeper connection with herself, with nature.
And her journey with the Zen master,
Oh, yeah.
it really exemplifies that, those bizarre and uncomfortable encounters. You know, the cat-infested shack, the bloody steak incident?
Yeah, she was being tested at every turn.
It's like a test at every turn.
It is.
It really highlights her commitment to her spiritual growth, though, doesn't it?
It does.
She's willing to endure discomfort, uncertainty in her pursuit of this deeper understanding.
And both siblings are going through these intense periods of
Yeah.
personal growth,
Right.
even if their methods are completely different.
Yeah. And those methods also reflect their contrasting views of success.
Mm-hmm.
After Vietnam, Robert embraces his dark side, that competitive drive,
Yeah.
and channels it towards entrepreneurial success.
It's fascinating because he doesn't shy away from that aspect of himself.
No.
He acknowledges that drive, that ambition,
Yeah.
and he sees it as this powerful tool if harnessed correctly.
Right.
And he contrasts that with what he perceived as his father's more passive approach after losing his job.
Yeah.
It's like Robert's determined to forge his own path, one where he's in control.
And then you have Amy grappling with a very different kind of struggle, the realities of welfare.
Yeah, it's a powerful juxtaposition. Here's this highly educated woman dedicated to spiritual growth, yet forced to rely on a system that just feels at odds with her values.
Right.
And it's that experience that fuels her determination to never be in that position again.
It speaks to her strength and resilience.
It does.
She takes on demanding jobs, specifically to fund her travels to India for further Buddhist study. It's like she's saying, I will create my own opportunities, even if it means making sacrifices.
Exactly. And it's those sacrifices, those challenges that ultimately shape their journeys
Right.
and lead them to embrace their callings. Robert dives headfirst into entrepreneurship and investing.
Right.
But importantly, he doesn't dismiss the value of spiritual well-being. He wants it all.
It's a more nuanced perspective than we often see.
It is.
He's not just about financial success.
Right.
He recognizes the importance of a holistic approach to life.
Absolutely.
And then you have Emmy. She fully embraces her calling as a Buddhist nun. dedicating herself to service and spiritual growth.
It's like they're both finding their place in the world,
Yeah.
but on a very different path.
But on very different paths. And it's remarkable how their paths eventually converge.
Yeah.
Robert selling his possessions, inspired by Buckminster Fuller to teach financial literacy, Emi deepening her understandings of Buddhist teachings. They're both shedding material possessions, but for very different reasons.
It is, isn't it? And it's in those seemingly disparate journeys that the book starts to reveal these fascinating connections. They're both taking these leaps of faith.
They are. Robert's decision to sell everything and dedicate himself to teaching, that's a huge leap of faith.
It is.
And so is Emi's choice to leave her daughter behind, to travel to India and study Buddhism.
Right, and both decisions are met with skepticism and concern from those around them. But they're driven by this inner compass, this unwavering belief in their chosen paths. It's inspiring.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
Yeah.
It speaks to the power of following your intuition, even when it defies conventional wisdom.
Absolutely.
And as their journeys unfold, we see how those Buddhist teachings, like impermanence, play out in Emi's life. She describes witnessing the collapse of Onamiya Arch,
Yeah.
that majestic natural landmark.
Yeah.
It's this powerful reminder that everything is in constant flux.
And that teaching, the impermanence of all things, it's not meant to be depressing. It's actually incredibly liberating.
Right.
It reminds us to appreciate the present moment, to let go of attachments, and to embrace change as just this inevitable part of life.
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
It is.
And it's a perspective that can be applied to everything,
Oh, yeah.
from our relationships to our careers.
Absolutely.
It encourages us to be present, to savor the good times, and to navigate those inevitable challenges with grace and acceptance.
I love that.
And then there's the concept of compassion, which is central to Emi's Buddhist practice and her work as a chaplain.
Yeah.
What's interesting is how she contrasts her mother's boundless compassion for others with her own struggles to love herself.
Oh, wow.
It's a powerful reminder that true compassion starts within.
It's like you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the book emphasizes that compassion is not just a feeling, it's an active practice.
Yes.
It's about cultivating empathy, understanding, and kindness towards all beings.
All beings, including ourselves.
Including ourselves.
Right.
And it's a practice that can transform our relationships and our experience of the world.
It can, and it can also be incredibly challenging, especially when faced with difficult people or situations.
Right, but the book suggests that even those challenges can be opportunities for growth.
Absolutely. It's about shifting our perspective, seeing those difficult individuals as teachers who are helping us cultivate patience, forgiveness, and ultimately a deeper understanding of human nature.
That's a radical shift in thinking.
It is.
It's a key part of Emi's Buddhist path.
Yeah.
And then you have the concept of karma, which is often misunderstood in Western culture.
Right, yeah.
People often think of it as a system of cosmic reward and punishment. Like, good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people.
Right, very simplistic.
But the book emphasizes that karma is much more nuanced than that.
It is. It's about the cause and effect of our actions, both physical and mental.
So it's about understanding that our choices have consequences, and those consequences shape our present and our future experiences.
Exactly. And it's not about blame or judgment.
Yeah.
It's about taking responsibility for our actions.
Right.
And understanding that we have the power to create positive change in our lives.
And that brings us to the concept of enlightenment, which is the ultimate goal in Buddhism.
Right.
And the book clarifies that enlightenment isn't about becoming some kind of superhuman being. It's about realizing our full potential,
Yes.
cultivating wisdom and compassion, and ultimately liberating ourselves from suffering.
That's a lifelong journey, isn't it?
It is,
And it's a journey that's available to all of us,
to all of us.
regardless of our background or circumstances.
And these Buddhist teachings really provide a powerful framework for understanding Emi's choices and her unwavering dedication to her spiritual path.
They do. And what's remarkable is how the book weaves these teachings into the narrative in a way that feels both profound and relatable. It's not this dry philosophical treatise. It's a story about two siblings navigating life's complexities
Right.
and finding meaning in their own unique ways.
And it's the honesty and vulnerability in their stories that make the book so compelling.
For sure. They're not afraid to share their struggles, their doubts, their failures.
Right.
And it's in those moments of vulnerability that we see their humanity, you know?
Yeah.
Their resilience and their unwavering commitment to their chosen paths.
And those paths, despite their differences,
Hmm.
they ultimately converge in a powerful way.
They do. And it's in that convergence that the book offers us this really unique perspective on the relationship between financial and spiritual wealth.
Right.
It's not about choosing one over the other.
Right.
It's about finding a balance that allows us to live a fulfilling and meaningful life.
And that balance looks different for everyone.
Of course, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach to happiness or success. Rich brother, rich sister encourages us to define those terms for ourselves
Right.
and to find a path that aligns with our values and aspirations.
And it reminds us that the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
Absolutely. And it's a journey that's filled with challenges, setbacks, and moments of profound growth.
Yeah.
But it's also a journey that's ultimately about finding our place in the world and making a positive impact,
Right.
however we define it.
However we define it.
Mm.
And it's a message that resonates deeply, especially in a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain.
Absolutely.
And it's a message that I think we can all benefit from hearing.
I agree.
Absolutely. And as we delve further into the book, we'll explore some of the specific principles that Robert and Emmy embrace on their journeys and how those principles can be applied to our own lives.
It's about taking those abstract concepts and finding practical ways to integrate them into our daily experience.
Because ultimately, that's what makes this book so valuable, right? It's
Yeah.
not just a story. It's a guide for living a more intentional and fulfilling life.
It is, and it's a guide that can help us navigate the complexities of the modern world, find our purpose, and create a life that's both meaningful and prosperous.
Meaningful and prosperous in whatever way we define those terms.
Exactly.
And that's a pretty powerful message, wouldn't you say?
It is.
It's a reminder that we all have the power to create the life we want, to make a difference, and to leave a positive legacy.
That's a great way to put it.
And speaking of leaving a legacy,
Yeah.
Rich Brother, Rich Sister also delves into how Robert and Emmy face their own mortality,
Right.
but from very different angles.
Yeah, it's a powerful contrast. Robert, after those multiple near-death experiences in Vietnam,
Oh, right.
seems to have developed this acceptance of death, this understanding of life's fragility that fuels his drive to make the most of every moment.
It's like he stared death in the face and came out on the other side,
Yeah.
realizing that fear shouldn't hold him back.
Exactly. And that perspective contrasts sharply with Emmy's approach to mortality, which is deeply rooted in her Buddhist practice.
So while Robert embraces risk and pushes himself to the edge, Emmy focuses on contemplating death as this natural part of life, something to be met with acceptance and grace.
And the book illustrates those contrasting approaches beautifully. You have Robert describing that harrowing helicopter crash caused by sabotage.
Yeah.
He's sinking underwater, struggling to free himself from the wreckage, and in that moment, he finds this peace.
It's incredible, isn't it? He's reconciled with the possibility of death, and it's in that surrender that he realizes he's okay with how his life has unfolded.
And that experience seems to free him from that fear that often paralyzes people. You know, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown.
Right.
Robert's experiences, as harrowing as they were, liberate him from those fears.
It's a powerful lesson. Sometimes facing our fears, even our fear of death, can unlock our full potential.
Sure.
And then you have Annie sharing her insights from working with dying patients as a hospice chaplain.
Right. She talks about how people tend to die the way they live, emphasizing the importance of living a life grounded in ethics and compassion.
It's a powerful reminder that our actions have consequences, not just in this life, but potentially beyond.
Yeah.
It encourages us to live with intention, to treat others with kindness, and to make choices that align with our values.
And it's a message that resonates deeply, especially in a world that often feels increasingly materialistic and self-centered.
It does.
Yeah.
And then the book dives into some of the key principles that Robert embraces, things like the power of generalized principles, which he learned from Buckminster Fuller. He talks about precession, ephemeralization, and lag, and how understanding these principles can guide our decisions and shape our outcomes.
It's about recognizing those underlying patterns that influence our lives, whether we're aware of them or not.
Like precession, for example.
Yeah.
It's the idea that the effects of our actions often ripple out in unexpected ways.
Exactly. Robert uses the example of a spinning top to illustrate this concept.
Okay.
The force applied to the top creates this perpendicular force, influencing its direction. He suggests that our goals shouldn't be our primary focus, but rather the processional effects that those goals create.
So it's not just about achieving a specific outcome, it's about the journey and the impact we have along the way.
Precisely. It's a fascinating concept. It suggests we should focus on the actions we take and trust that the desired outcomes will manifest as a byproduct. It's about shifting our focus from the destination to the journey itself.
And then there's ephemeralization,
Right.
which he describes as doing more with less, a principle that's particularly relevant in today's world of technology and innovation.
Absolutely. It's about leveraging our resources, finding creative solutions, and constantly seeking ways to amplify our impact.
It's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And it's a principle that can be applied to everything,
Yeah.
from business to personal growth.
And finally, there's lag,
Yeah.
which refers to the time delay between an action and its effect.
Right. Robert points out that different industries have different lag times, and understanding those delays is crucial for success. He highlights how the slowest industries, like education and construction, often struggle to adapt to rapid change,
Right.
while faster industries, like technology, thrive on innovation.
So it's about understanding the rhythms of change and adapting our strategies accordingly.
Exactly. It's about being patient when necessary,
Right.
but also being willing to seize opportunities when they arise.
And all of these principles, precession, ephemeralization, and lag, they're not just theoretical concepts.
Hmm.
Robert shares practical examples of how he's applied them in his own life, in his businesses, and his investments.
He does. It's about taking those abstract ideas and making them actionable,
Right.
demonstrating their real-world relevance.
Right. And it's this combination of personal anecdotes, philosophical insights, and practical advice that makes Rich Brother, Rich Sister such a compelling read.
I agree. It really challenges you to think differently.
It does. It challenges you to think differently, to question your assumptions, and to explore those alternative paths to success and fulfillment.
It's about recognizing that there's no one right way to live, but that all of us have the potential to create a life that's both meaningful and prosperous.
And that's a really powerful message, isn't it?
It is. It's a message of empowerment.
Hmm.
It reminds us that we have the power to shape our own destinies,
Right.
to make a difference in the world, and to leave a positive legacy.
And it's a message that's so beautifully conveyed through the contrasting journeys of Robert and Emmy, two siblings who, despite their vastly different paths, ultimately find a way to support and inspire each other.
Absolutely. It's a testament to the enduring power of family, the importance of embracing our differences, and the transformative potential of pursuing our passions.
It's a book that stays with you long after you finish reading it.
It does.
It makes you think, it makes you feel, and ultimately it makes you want to live a more intentional and fulfilling life.
And that's the greatest compliment you can give a book, wouldn't you say?
It is. It's a reminder that the journey of self-discovery and personal growth, it's ongoing. There's always more to learn, more to explore, and more to share.
And it's a journey that's worth taking.
It really is.
Mhm.
And speaking of journeys, one of the most striking aspects of Rich Brother, Rich Sister is how Robert connects his near-death experiences in Vietnam to his broader philosophy of life.
Yeah, it's this fascinating link. He describes multiple brushes with death, from helicopter crashes to close calls in combat. It's like he developed this deep understanding of life's fragility. And that understanding became this driving force for him.
So those experiences really shaped his perspective.
They did.
But how do they actually change him?
Well, he talks about staring death in the face and coming out on the other side with this incredible sense of peace. It's as if he reconciled with the possibility of death and realized he was okay with how his life had unfolded up to that point.
Wow.
He had lived on his own terms, he had taken risks, he had pursued his passions.
It's an incredibly powerful realization,
It is.
especially given the circumstances. It sounds like those experiences freed him from the fear of failure, the fear of judgment.
Exactly. And it's in those moments of facing our deepest fears that we often discover our true potential.
Absolutely. It's about embracing those challenges, those moments of uncertainty,
Yeah.
and using them as fuel for growth.
Rich Brother, Rich Sister provides this roadmap for that growth,
Right.
offering practical advice and insights alongside these really powerful personal stories.
And that's what makes this book so impactful,
Right,
right?
yes.
It's not just about Robert and Emmy's experiences.
Yeah.
It's about the universal themes of finding your purpose, navigating challenges, and creating a life that's aligned with your values.
Exactly. It's a reminder that even amidst the complexities of life, we all have the power to create positive change, both within ourselves and in the world around us.
And that's a message that's worth spreading.
It is.
Absolutely. And speaking of spreading messages, the book also highlights the importance of effective communication, something that Robert credits as a key factor in his success.
He does. He talks about learning to articulate his ideas clearly and persuasively,
Right.
both in writing and in person. He believes that effective communication is essential for building relationships, closing deals, and ultimately achieving your goals.
It's a skill that's often overlooked, but it's absolutely crucial in all aspects of life.
It is. Whether you're running a business, negotiating a contract, or simply having a conversation with a loved one, the ability to communicate effectively can make all the difference.
Absolutely. And Rich Brother, Rich Sister provides some valuable insights into how to develop those communication skills.
It does. And it goes beyond just the technical aspects of communication, like
Right.
grammar and vocabulary.
Right.
It emphasizes the importance of emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
empathy, and the ability to connect with your audience on a deeper level.
So it's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it and how you make the other person feel.
Exactly. It's about understanding the power of storytelling, using humor effectively, and being authentic in your interactions.
And those are all skills that can be learned and developed with practice.
They are. And the book provides this framework for that practice,
Yeah.
encouraging readers to step outside their comfort zones,
Uh-huh.
experiment with different communication styles, and ultimately find what works best for them.
It's about embracing that journey of self-discovery and personal growth, which is this recurring theme throughout the book.
Absolutely. It is. And it's a theme that resonates deeply with readers because it's something we all experience. We're all on this journey of learning, evolving, and becoming the best versions of ourselves.
And Rich Brother, Rich Sister provides this compelling guide for that journey, offering valuable insights, practical tools, and inspiring stories that can help us navigate the complexities of life and achieve our full potential.
And as we delve deeper into the book, we'll explore some of those tools and insights in greater detail, providing you with actionable takeaways that you can apply to your own life.
So stay tuned for more. We'll be right back after a quick.
And we're back. It's amazing how Robert connects those near-death experiences in Vietnam with this idea of living without fear,
Yeah, it's like he faced his mortality.
Yeah, it's like staring death in the face almost freed him to really go after his goals.
Right, with this incredible intensity, like he's
Yeah.
not afraid of anything anymore.
Exactly, and he doesn't shy away from those stories. He really describes them in detail, like that helicopter crash.
Oh, the one where he was underwater?
Yeah, struggling to escape the wreckage, and even in that moment, he finds this peace.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, finding peace while facing death. What do you think he learned from those experiences, in the bigger picture?
He realized he was okay with how he had lived, He had taken risks, he had pursued his passions, he'd stayed true to himself.
Right.
And it's like that experience, it gave him this clarity and purpose.
Yeah, and that clarity translates into this incredible drive,
It does.
this fearlessness in pursuing his goals.
He talks about selling everything he owned, inspired by Buckminster Fuller, to teach financial literacy. That's a huge leap of faith.
That's huge. I mean, how many people would actually do that?
Yeah,
It speaks to that core message, doesn't it?
it does.
About taking risks and stepping outside your comfort zone to chase your dreams.
It's not just about reckless risk-taking, though. It's calculated risks, Having a vision and a plan.
And that's where his cash flow quadrant comes in.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, he uses that to illustrate different paths to financial freedom, and he emphasizes moving from employee to business owner to investor.
Right, like taking control of your financial destiny,
Right.
not being reliant on a job.
Exactly. Building assets that generate passive income.
And he provides practical steps, right, for how to do that.
He does. He talks about the importance of financial education,
Oh, yeah.
understanding how money works, developing those skills and mindset.
So it's not just about luck. It's about taking action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's that message of empowerment.
It is. We can achieve financial freedom.
Yeah, but it takes effort, education, and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone. And it's interesting how he contrasts his approach with Emi's.
Oh, right, with Emi's pursuit of spiritual wealth.
Yeah. It's this powerful juxtaposition. While he's building assets, generating passive income, she's cultivating inner peace, compassion, wisdom through her Buddhist practice.
And her journey is just as inspiring. I mean, she faces some tough challenges, right?
Yeah.
Poverty, single motherhood, but she never wavers in her commitment to her spiritual path.
She works tirelessly to fund those trips to India, to study with Tibetan Buddhist teachers. I mean, even taking on those physically demanding jobs in Alaska.
Alaska. Wow, her dedication is amazing.
It really is. It highlights that power of perseverance,
Yeah,
staying true to your values,
even when things get hard.
even when faced with adversity. And it really challenges the typical idea of success, doesn't it?
It does. In a society that values material wealth, her journey reminds us there are other ways to be fulfilled.
Yeah, it's about finding what truly matters to you and going after it, with passion and purpose.
Yeah, and the book explores this concept of finding your purpose. Robert talks about his early struggles to find his place in the world, Vietnam, his business ventures. It wasn't until he found his passion for teaching financial literacy that he felt that sense of purpose.
It's such a common experience, isn't it? That feeling of searching
Yeah, trying different things until you find what fits.
until something clicks. The book offers some really good insights into how to navigate that search, like listening to your gut and trusting the journey.
Your intuition.
Yeah. Robert talks about experimentation, trying new things, and not being afraid to fail. He says failure is not the opposite of success.
Right, it's part of the process.
It is. It's about learning from your mistakes and adapting.
Keeping moving forward.
He also talks about mentors, surrounding yourself with the right people.
That support you.
Yeah, and challenge you to grow. And we see that throughout the book, right? Both Robert and Emmy have these mentors that guide them.
Like Robert's dad.
Yes, even though he had his own challenges, he instilled in Robert that strong work ethic, the importance of education.
And Emmy had that Zen master, pushing her, testing her at every turn,
Yeah, pushing her to confront her limits.
and deepen her spiritual understanding.
It's a good reminder that we don't have to go it alone.
No, we don't. There are people who can help us, offer guidance.
Support and encouragement, finding those mentors can be so important in our journey.
Absolutely. And speaking of self-discovery, the book also dives into self-awareness.
Yes,
And this is where Emmy's Buddhist teachings really come in, right?
they do, yeah. Mindfulness, meditation, self-reflection.
Understanding ourselves better.
Exactly. Emmy believes by understanding our thoughts, emotions, motivations, we can make more conscious choices,
Okay.
develop healthier relationships, and ultimately live a more fulfilling life.
And she gives us tools for that.
She does, yeah. Setting aside time for quiet reflection, paying attention to our breath, just observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment.
And gratitude, too.
Yes, appreciating the good things in life.
Cultivating that positive mindset.
Yeah, it's about that deeper connection with ourselves.
Right. Knowing ourselves, our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, and learning to navigate our inner world.
With more skill. With compassion.
That inner work is just as important as that outer work
It is.
of achieving our goals and pursuing our dreams.
Creating that balance.
Yeah, harmony within.
And it ripples outward.
Rich Brother, Rich Sister offers a roadmap for that journey. Those practical tools and insights to help us live a more meaningful life.
And it does so through these powerful stories.
It does, these contrasting journeys of Robert and Emi.
They support each other.
Yeah, embracing their differences.
Find their own passions.
Yeah, and the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
That's a great point.
It's about savoring those moments,
Right.
learning, embracing the ups and downs.
The human experience.
As we continue our deep dive, we'll explore some of the specific tools they use to navigate their journeys.
Robert's principles of procession, ephemeralization, lag.
Yeah, we'll give some examples of how we can use those concepts.
And Emi's Buddhist teachings on compassion, mindfulness, and gratitude.
Yeah, offering insights into how those practices can help us find greater inner peace.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're back with our deep dive into Rich Brother, Rich Sister. It's fascinating how Robert emphasizes those generalized principles that govern success. He got that from Buckminster Fuller, right?
He did, yeah. It's like instead of focusing on specific tactics, Robert wants to identify those underlying principles that apply across different fields. He calls them generalized principles.
And he talks about procession, ephemeralization, and lag. Those are some pretty big concepts.
They are, but let's break them down.
Yeah.
So procession is the idea that our actions often have these ripple effects in unexpected ways.
Okay.
Robert uses the analogy of a spinning top.
Right.
When you apply force, it doesn't move in the direction of the force, it moves perpendicularly. So he suggests that our goals shouldn't be the main focus, but rather those processional effects.
So it's about understanding those unintended consequences, those ripple effects. How do we actually apply that in our lives, though?
He says, focus on the journey.
Not the destination.
Right. Focus on the actions, on doing the right things, and those outcomes will just happen naturally.
Trust the process.
Trust the process and recognize that sometimes the biggest impact we have is in those unexpected areas, those ripples we might not even see.
Right. Okay, what about ephemeralization?
Ephemeralization is all about doing more with less,
Okay.
especially relevant today with all this technology.
It's about leveraging technology, but it's also about a mindset, right?
It is, yeah. Finding creative solutions, maximizing efficiency, amplifying our impact, working smarter, not harder.
And it applies to so many things, how we use our time, our resources, our work, even relationships.
Absolutely. And then there's lag, which is the time delay between an action and its effect.
Okay, time delay.
Robert says understanding that lag is crucial for success.
Can you give me an example? How does lag actually play out?
Sure. Think about education. Okay.
It can take years, even decades, for changes in policies to impact students. That's lag time.
Long lag time.
Yeah, and industries with longer lag times, like construction, they often struggle to adapt. But then you have industries with shorter lag times, like technology, and they thrive on that quick change.
So it's knowing the rhythm of change in your industry and adapting accordingly.
Exactly. Being patient when you need to be, but also jumping on those opportunities. What I find fascinating is that Robert doesn't just talk about these principles, he gives real examples from his own life.
Right. He's actually using them.
He talks about how procession helped him build successful businesses. Ephemeralization helped him create more value with less. Understanding lag helped him make smart investments.
He's walking the walk. He's not just talking the talk.
And that's what makes Rich Brother, Rich Sister so compelling. It's not just theory. It's real stories about overcoming challenges and learning valuable lessons.
Yeah, and it's inspiring. It shows that success isn't just luck. It's about understanding these principles, having the right mindset, and taking action. And it has the power to change lives. It makes people think differently about success.
Challenge assumptions. Explore different paths to fulfillment.
And it does all that through those contrasting stories of Robert and Emi. They come together to share their wisdom.
It's a testament to family, embracing differences, following your passion.
And a reminder that success isn't the destination, it's that journey.
Right. Embracing the ups and downs, the learning, the human experience.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Rich Brother, Rich Sister, what are your main takeaways?
I hope listeners are inspired by Robert and Emi's resilience,
Yes, their determination.
their commitment to their paths. I hope it encourages them to think outside the box, challenge norms, and explore different paths to fulfillment. But most importantly, I hope they feel empowered to take action
To go after those dreams.
and create a life that aligns with their values. We all have that potential.
We do.
It takes effort, dedication, and a willingness to get out of that comfort zone.
And remember, success is not a destination. It's that ongoing journey. Learning, growing, becoming the best versions of ourselves. And for listeners who want to learn more, be sure to check out lingopediamagazine.com.
They have some great courses and ebooks.
And don't forget to subscribe, share, and like this deep dive. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you next time for more fascinating topics.
Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving.